We always hear about a leader's amazing strategy or their incredible vision, but what's the one thing that actually holds all of that together? Well, today we're going to dig into what I like to call the moral architecture of leadership. It's the foundation, really, that decides whether a leader's impact is going to stick around for the long haul. All right, so let me start by asking you a question, and I want you to really think about this. Picture the best leaders you've ever known. The ones who genuinely inspired you. What was that single quality they all shared? Was it their charisma, their smarts, that big picture vision? Well, after talking to literally thousands of people over decades, these leadership gurus, Kouzes and Posner, found a super clear answer. The number one thing? It's credibility. And you know what credibility is built on? It's actually pretty simple, just honesty and consistency. It all boils down to people believing in you, because what you say and what you do are always in sync. And that's our perfect jumping off point for this first section, building with values. Now, I want you to forget the idea that values are just some fluffy, soft skills kind of thing. No way. We're going to see how they're actually the hard-as-steel building blocks for any leader who wants to create something that actually stands the test of time. And the data on this, it's just wow. Check this out. Out of all the qualities people want to see in a leader, credibility is always number one. Always. So this isn't some nice little bonus trait. It is the absolute fundamental ticket to the game of effective leadership. Okay, so how do you even build that number one quality? Well, it pretty much rests on these four pillars. You've got pioneers in emotional intelligence, folks like Goleman, who pointed out how crucial self-awareness, empathy, and authenticity are. And then other research just hammers it home. A leader's own moral example is what sets the entire vibe for the organization's culture. It all starts at the top. And this gets us to a really, really important distinction. See, values-driven leadership, it's not about forcing people to comply, just making them follow the rules. It's about inspiring commitment. It's about making people genuinely want to be part of the mission. Think about it like this. It's the difference between trying to push a rope, which is just a frustrating mess, and pulling it, where everyone's moving together as this powerful single force. Okay, but what happens when that moral compass is just gone? Let's switch gears and talk about the flip side, the cost of no compass. This is where things can get ugly. And this is such a classic trap, you guys. A leader who's missing that strong moral compass, they might actually look great for a little while. They're hitting their numbers, closing big deals, but that success is usually just an illusion. It's masking these deep, hidden problems that are just slowly eating away at the very foundation of the team or the company. I mean, look at this. The contrast really couldn't be any clearer. On one side, you have values-driven leadership. That's what builds things that last. Trust, engagement, real long-term success. But on the other side, that leadership without a compass, it just destroys everything in its path. It wrecks confidence, burns out your best people, and tanks the company's reputation. At the end of the day, the long-term results really do speak for themselves. All right, so we've talked about what this is and why it's so important. But the big question is, how do you actually do it? How do you put values into practice? Let's get into the practical side of things now. The actual blueprint for turning these big ideas into real-world actions. And this quote right here, it just cuts right to the chase. Ethical leadership is not a soft ideal, it is a measurable factor. This is so key. We are not talking about some vague, feel-good concept here. Hard research from people like Brown and Treviño shows that this stuff has real, measurable business results. We're talking performance, keeping your best people, and your reputation in the market. It's tangible. So how do we get there? It's really a three-step process that takes your values off a poster on the wall and makes them real. Step one, you gotta model the behavior. You have to walk the talk. Your actions have to scream your values louder than your words. Step two, doing that consistently is what builds that all-important credibility we talked about. And step three, you measure the impact. You actually look at the data, like staff retention and engagement, to prove that it's working. So if there's one crucial point to take away from all this, it's this. A leader's moral compass is not just some personal character trait. It is the main navigation system for the entire organization. It's what dictates the direction, shapes the culture, and, at the end of the day, determines the long-term health and success of absolutely everyone on the team. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought to chew on. When you look at your own leadership style, or maybe the leaders around you, just ask yourself this one simple but really powerful question. Is your leadership built to last? Is it really built on that solid foundation of values?